Welcome back to Ask Lee. It's Wednesday again. I hope it is. Just forgetting what day it is at the moment. Alright, today's question is from SolemnSun, and it's all relating to the Kabbalistic tree and the four worlds and such things. So this week seems to be a continuation of Kabbalistic discussions. So let's have a look at that one. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Alright, before I do get started with this, I just want to ask Don Rodolfo to please contact me via email. You signed up for the Red Coven Magic School, and we need to get you sorted out on the Discord server. Unfortunately, this is the only way I can get hold of people who subscribe on YouTube. There's no ways, I can't get hold of people's emails or contact you via a DM or anything like that on YouTube. So if you can please give me a shout and we can sort that out. If you do subscribe to one of the upper levels on YouTube, just make sure that you do connect on the Discord server, and you can link your YouTube and Discord accounts so it picks up the subscription itself. And just a reminder, if you do want to become a supporter for $2.99 a month, that would be great. That would greatly help me and help the channel as well. So keep that in mind. And another quick announcement, I have created a package for Reiki attunement. It's a self-attunement, so it's going to be a lot cheaper than going through the traditional Reiki attunements, where you buy the course, you read through the manual, we have a chat and discussion, face-to-face, one-on-one, and then I give you a healing, distance healing usually, and then we do a distance attunement. This is going to be it's a little bundle. It's got all three manuals in for level 1, level 2 and level 3, and you can read through those, study them, learn them at your own pace, at your own time, at home. And then there is a video which you can follow along with, which is the self-attunement. So we take each symbol, we insert them in the specific places, we open up the crown chakra, bring in energy and things like that. So it's the attunement I do personally, but it's sort of modeled towards doing a self-attunement, and I'll take you through the whole thing. That is targeted and aimed towards people who just want to do Reiki on themselves or just for their family and friends. You're not going to get a certificate or be added to the lineage or anything like that. If you do, then there's going to be an extra fee for that, just to put together the certificate, put you on the lineage, and send you all that paperwork. Alright, so let's get into the question. SolemnSun's question. Within planetary magic, I read that the planetary forces, planets, also contain the tree and thus the worlds within, and therein are more emanations. Is this an infinite loop of worlds and Sephiroth? Thus the assembly line metaphor, but infinite. It sounds almost like infinite searching. Also, in reading, I saw there is an angel or demon, spirit and intelligence residing with planetary forces. Are they associated because they are the same resonance? What is the difference between these beings, and why would one work with one versus another? They seem to be connected with the tree. Is this how one goes about getting more precise results with magical endeavors? Thank you for answering and all you do. It's a pleasure. Alright, so this is kind of a combination of planetary magic and the Kabbalistic tree of life. Now, when we look at the tree, we have the 10 Sephirah. The method that I was taught is that it's a method where you actually kind of visualize yourself going down an elevator. You get to a certain point, certain number, floor, and then you step out and you vibrate the God aspect, the name of power, in order to open the door to that particular Sephiroth. Then you step through into the world of that Sephiroth. So if you were going to Tiferet, then you move down to Tiferet, and you can walk around Tiferet, the landscape. But within there's another tree. So what you do is, when you're in that world, you locate the tree within the Sephiroth, and you then enter that. You move up through the levels, and you can go into another Sephiroth within that one. So you can move into Hod in Tiferet, or you can move into Netzach in Gevura, or whatever you want to accomplish. And there's various things you can do in there. Now this brings in the worlds within the tree and within Kabbalah itself. So we have 4 worlds. There's Asiya, Yetzirah, Bria, and Atzilut. We're really working on the physical. Asiya is the physical. It relates with your senses and things like that, which is the planetary. Then Yetzirah is sort of the mental world, and this works with the angels. This is where we find the angels. The angels being such things as the cherubim, the Beni Elohim, and such things, such classes or orders of angels. Then Bria is the soul world, where we find the archangels, and Atzilut is the spirit world, where we find the God aspects. So I think the easiest way to probably explain this would be if you had a ball, and then that ball is covered in a layer, and then another layer, and then another layer. Each layer, it becomes more energetic, it becomes less solid, if we can put it that way. And the ball in the center is then Asiya, the physical planetary world, the world that works on the senses. So with our magic, when I say with our magic, there's many ways we can view that, look at that. We could look at it from a purely spiritual aspect of working through those different layers, so that we become less physical, I suppose. Very difficult to put in words. We start at that physical level, that level, the planetary level, where we are embodied by our senses, and everything that we touch, everything we feel, everything we see and hear and smell and taste, that's what engages us. But as we work spiritually, probably the easiest example here would be from a Buddhist perspective, because when we immediately think of the Buddhist perspective, it's about reaching or attaining enlightenment and such things. So we work at becoming less physical and more energetic, moving through those energy levels. But when it comes to magic, which is pertaining to particular works in order to alter or change the world around us, we're probably looking at the more physical aspect, the aspect of Asiya, the physical world, and therefore we would want to work with the planetary aspects in order to engage with that world. So it depends on what world you're actually wanting to engage with. If you want to engage with the Yetziratic world, the mental world, then you would probably work with the angels, and each Sephiroth has these allocations. So for instance, we have Malkut at the bottom, which is based in earth. It's about the elements. It's very solid, and here we have the cherubim, who are the angelic aspects of the elements. Then we move up to Yesod, which is moving more into an astral consciousness, a dream consciousness. And this is where we find the moon, because the moon is that dream body. It's about divination, about dreaming, about the astral realms, about astral movement, astral bodies, and such things. So we have the moon here. If we go over to Gevura, we find Mars, because it is that Martian aspect. You find all of those. It's the same vibration. It's the same aspect on a sensory level. But obviously, as I said, you can move into the mental world or into the soul world or the spirit world. Depends on what type of work you want to do. Let me just want to go back to the question quickly. Yeah, you asked, is this how one goes about getting more precise results with magical endeavors? I wouldn't say it's about getting precise results. It depends what type of result you're looking for and what type of work you're doing. You know, if it is about attaining knowledge of a particular thing, you may not want to work with the planetary aspects. You may want to work with the angelic or the archangelic aspects, you know, depending on what it is. But if it is something which is about your physical world, maybe it's your physical health, maybe it's about finances, maybe it's about finding the love of your life, or something like that, then you are engaging with the senses. And therefore using planetary magic is probably better in that situation. So it really is about what you're doing, what you're aiming for, what your goal is, and then fitting into the particular world which will get that for you, which will bring you towards that goal. So yeah, in reading I saw there is an angel or demon, spirit, intelligence residing with planetary forces. The planetary forces themselves are deities. They are gods and goddesses, but we do find relations with particular things. Venus, it's often related with Diana, often related with Lucifer, the evening star, the morning star, Hesperus, all of those god aspects. But what you'll probably find is that, you know, when we talk about the planets themselves, we talk about them as being Venus, Mars, and such names which are actually related to Roman gods. And you then have your parallels with the Greek gods and goddesses, who are very similar in aspect. We then have the demonic forces, the Goetia spirits, who are associated with planets, and it's because they have that same type of influence. Venus is all about love, friendship, sexuality, and such things. Therefore, we often find our friendship and our demonic forces, or sorry, our love demons and our all of the forces which are associated with that, with being associated with Venus. Mars is associated with war, with cursing, with action, rather than opposed to Saturn, which is more about planning and order. Mars is kind of like that throw yourself in there and beat the hell out of everybody type of energy. So we have more of our Martian, our war types of beings in there. So each planet has an aspect, a vibration, a relationship to particular things which we can associate with human behaviors and desires, and therefore we have all the different spirits which are then put into those little molds and thrown into being part of a planetary aspect or planetary energy. So the thing is, it's not really about whether a demon versus an angel is better to use within a particular thing. That sort of relates to which kind of force, which kind of spirit you actually relate to better, and which one you work better with. You know, somebody who has the attitude that demons are evil and therefore they cannot work with them, they will not work with them because they're just going to bring them down and ruin their life, obviously won't work with demons. They will work with probably angelic forces or gods and goddesses. I don't believe there's any difference between any of them myself, but you know, if you hold that ideology, then you know it's going to affect the magic, obviously. So it's really about who you feel is better to work with. Now, when it does come to things like angels and demons versus archangels, that we find a bit of a difference, because trying to find an really easy way to explain angels versus archangels. If you consider your hand, and we think of the fingertips, we think of each segment of each finger, and then we think of the palm, we think of the back of the hand, we think of each segment on the front with the fingertip and the nail. You know, we have all these different parts, moving parts of our hand, and each moving part could be considered an angel. Then the entire hand is the archangel. So each moving part has something it can do, but until it works with all of the other moving parts, it can't really do much. The force which gets the hand to do something like grab or punch or stroke or whatever action it is would be the archangelic force. The thing which puts that into motion, which puts that force into motion in order to get the angels to act, is the God aspect. And then the actual action itself of grabbing something, you feeling it with your senses, would then be the physical world. So we have all the different worlds that we can explain it that way. But if we look on a bigger scale, the angels would be those which affect us individually. They affect our emotions, they affect our attitudes, they affect us in all different ways, whereas the archangels are more kind of overlapping. If we look at the big four that we put into the four directions, each one is assigned to a particular element. Raphael is the ruler of air, and therefore Raphael kind of embodies the atmosphere which surrounds the earth, and therefore if we didn't have air, we wouldn't breathe, we would die. You know, we can look at Michael, who is associated with fire, as being the sun, as being the magna, the center of the earth, and all fiery things. Now, if the sun came too close to the earth, we would all fry. So it stays in a particular place. If it was too far away, we would all freeze. So it stays in a certain place, and it's held in that position. So we can go on and on and on. So the archangels are those bigger overlapping things. And when it comes to working with the archangels in magic, and, people are obviously going to disagree with me, because there are different perspectives and different viewpoints and different schools of thought regarding these things. But when we look at the archangels, they are kind of more associated and concerned with the bigger picture, with rather than individual humans, rather a group of humans or a country or something like that. So what can happen is that, when you're working with an archangel, the archangel itself may not be the one that is affecting the outcome that you're looking for. It may be assigned to a particular angel, which the archangel has assigned to you in order to bring that outcome. So, we can work magic in various different ways, obviously. But yeah, I'm really not sure if that one answered your question. So if you want to delve into it a bit further, just send me another question. And if you do have any questions, leave them in the comments to this video below, and I'll add them to Ask Lee. If you're listening on the podcast, you can go onto anchor.fm and leave me a voice note, and then you can ask your question. Alright, so I'm going to leave that one there today, and I'll catch up with you next week. Have a good one for now. Bye bye.